Unless you've been living under a rock for the past few weeks, you've undoubtedly heard everyone online talking about Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Expedition 33 has received sweeping praise, becoming the highest rated game of the year on Metacritic, receiving universal acclaim by every major gaming publication, countless videos online singing its praises, streamers on Twitch playing it by the thousands, and endless discussions about its world, gameplay, story, and the impact that it's predicted to have on the gaming industry. Coming from seemingly nowhere, Expedition 33 is the first game ever released by newcomer studio Sandfall Interactive, which was formed by a couple of Ubisoft developers who fled the monotony of their massive AAA gaming industry jobs to chase a passion project, an idea to create something amazing. And clearly they have succeeded. But what is it about Expedition 33 that has won it so much praise? What is it about the gameplay that threatens the AAA gaming space so much in so many people's eyes? What is it about the music that has over 950,000 people listening to the official soundtrack on Spotify? What is it about the characters and their writing that has everyone posting videos of their emotional reactions to the events of this game? What is it about this world and this story that resonates so deeply with people that many are already calling it one of the best games of all time? Arguably, the most important factor is the gameplay. Gameplay in Expedition 33 is a masterful blend of not only understanding what makes games fun, but also what makes it challenging and worthy of sinking hundreds of hours into. At its root, Expedition 33 is a turn-based party combat RPG, not unlike the Final Fantasy titles of old, but with numerous twists clearly inspired by other famous turn-based JRPGs, as well as action games. From your eventually full roster, you can have up to 3 party members at a time in battle. Each has their own strengths and weaknesses, but more importantly, each has a unique combat gimmick that adds this layer of complexity to playing the character outside of just being cognizant of their abilities. Each party member has slightly different objectives in combat in Expedition 33, and each feels distinctly different to play. Each character in your party can have up to 6 active skills slotted at one time, and each has a large skill tree to pick from. Everyone has a unique set of skills that all complement each other and allow you to build characters in pretty dramatically different ways. Eventually, you'll have access to their entire skill tree, giving you the ultimate freedom to change your skill build anytime a challenge may come up that your current build isn't working for. In addition to this, your player can also free shoot on their turn as well, allowing you to hit flying enemies that dodge melee attacks and skills, or strike enemy weak points for massive damage. By introducing both a dodge and parry window in their turn-based combat system, Sandfall has created a turn-based system that removes the feeling of just hitting a button until the bad guy dies that some turn-based games suffer from. By incorporating the rhythm-based attacks of Legend of Dragoon, they've created a turn-based combat that makes you pay attention to what you're doing. By adding refilling potions and expedition flags, they've essentially introduced bonfires and Estus flasks to a whole new audience. This blending of playstyles from all different games is clearly a hodgepodge recipe, but it has led to this game feeling so incredibly amazing to play. Weapons and gear are as varied as any RPG I've ever played. Each weapon has its own elemental damage type, attribute scaling that changes its performance based on the stat points that you assign to your characters, and 3 passive abilities that unlock as you level the weapon up using materials from enemies in the world. In lieu of gear in Expedition 33, characters can equip up to 3 Pictos, unique equipment pieces that give both passive stats and powerful active bonuses. Everything from increasing the number of hits in a combo to instantly killing your character in battle, free resurrection, or making you impervious to stuns. The sheer number of options given to you in the Pictos system is absolutely groundbreaking. Additionally, after 4 battles, all equipped Pictos will be learned, allowing all characters to equip themselves passively through the Lumina system. This allows you not only the 3 equipped Pictos on your character, but also every other Picto that you can slot with as many Lumina points as you have. This gives you a massive power spike, and it opens up the door to an absolutely unlimited number of options for build crafting. This is probably some of the best build crafting I have ever seen in an RPG, let alone a turn-based JRPG style game, and I would be absolutely shocked if other RPG games didn't straight up copy the Pictos and Lumina system going forward. It's impossible not to talk about the unbelievable evolution that this game will assuredly bring to turn-based combat games. Yes, there have been popular turn-based games in recent years, but Expedition 33 feels like a game designed by people who not only love and appreciate the newer titles in the genre, but also hold a deep respect for the older turn-based JRPGs of our childhood. At the same time, they also examined what makes games like Sekiro and Dark Souls so fun to engage with and master. As you progress through the game and become more powerful, you might think that some of the bosses you come up against would be trivialized, but some of the attack patterns in this game are nothing to take lightly and could easily give a Bloodborne or Sekiro boss a thing or two to learn from. Some of the optional in-game bosses are downright intimidating levels of challenge due to their complex and very deadly attack patterns, and some rely fully on unique gimmicks in order to deal any damage to them at all. By leveraging this new system to this turn-based combat world, Expedition 33 has opened the door to mechanically challenging bosses that would continue to be relevant even if you can hit them for 1 billion damage in a single attack, if they just don't take damage in that way. What can be said about the music of Expedition 33 that hasn't been said before about other masterful showcases of JRPG music? The music of Expedition 33 reflects its story exceptionally well. It's profoundly deep and sad, but with this thinly filmed veneer of happiness and hope on top. It sounds like music you would hear in your head when remembering the good times of a loved one that you've lost, the beautiful moments of a love that didn't work out. It's music that feels like trying to keep a smile on your face against immense, overwhelming sadness. Themes like Alicia give this profound sense of tension and sadness right from the gate, but with these beautiful swirling strings and vocals, the track has a sense of almost melancholic nostalgia. Contrast this with themes like the Gestural Village, Gestural Market, which feels like this playful, slightly mysterious tune that alludes to these creatures having so much more going on behind the scenes that we don't know about. The area themes also fit each area perfectly, my favorite being an area that you encounter a little bit later in the game, a strange island surrounded by sundered rocks and splintered skies with massive floating faces. All the while, this reversed musical track with these echoey, airy vocals rings out over the top. It feels like a place that shouldn't exist, a place where trespassers are not welcome and are not meant to be. This overflowing sense of mystery and otherworldliness is pervasive here. There's no singular style or genre that fully describes the music on display. It's 162-track OST blending multiple genres, crossing from classical to industrial to opera to electronic absolutely effortlessly. Creating this feeling of a world that is splintered, a fractured place where nothing is certain and mystery lies around every corner. The game's composer, Lorient Testard, has never worked on a game's soundtrack before, which to me is absolute insanity considering the quality of the work that he is able to produce here. In my estimation, his name will very quickly be remembered with the giants of the industry like Nier's Keiichi Okabe, Final Fantasy's Masayoshi Soken, and the grandfather of all JRP music, Nobuo Uematsu. While the gameplay and the music of Expedition 33 are both masterful, and their impact will surely change and influence things for some time to come, it's only a portion of what makes this game so special. But make no mistake, this game is truly special. I need to discuss more, I have to, but this is going to get into spoilers. So if you don't want to be spoiled, I would say stop here with this recommendation. Please buy this game. It is $50. It is cheaper than a traditional AAA game, and it is so unbelievably good that I would happily pay double what the developers are asking for it to experience it for the first time again. I think starting with the brief synopsis of the story makes the most sense as we enter into the spoiler section, so this is truly your last chance. Here comes the spoilers. Expedition 33 tells the story of and takes place in a very broken world. 67 years ago, the city of Lumiere was ripped from its place in the continent and sent hurtling into the sea, becoming surrounded by a shielded dome that prevented all contact with the outside world. At the same time, the Paintress, a massive creature, appeared and began painting an ever-decreasing number on her monolith, which ticks down once every year. Each time the Paintress paints a number, all of the people of Lumiere with an age above that number will disappear in a cloud of dust, an event known as the gommage. This pattern has continued year after year with zero explanation and threatens to eventually eliminate all human life in the world. Throughout the story of Expedition 33, we have massive twists and turns. We see character motivation and learn about their losses and gains. We find the remnants of previous expeditions, their bodies frozen in time as they died without completing their objectives. We watch these characters learn to trust each other and learn the realities of their world. We lose Gustave and meet Verso, and we learn the truth of the white-haired man, Renoir, and his family, the Desandres. At its core, Expedition 33's story is about the Desandres, a family who is the bleeding heart of this entire story. The Desandres are painters, magic users who possess the ability to bring their works to life within magical canvases. It's eventually revealed that the Verso we know is nothing more than a fakery, a painted version of the real Verso Desandre. A painter just like the rest of his family, Verso only ever painted this one magical canvas in his life, and it is within this canvas that the entirety of Expedition 33 exists in. All 67 years of their history, the gommage, and everyone that has ever existed in Lumiere is, in fact, a simulated painting. We discover that the Paintress is indeed Verso's mother, Aileen Desandre, and Renoir is his father, also named Renoir. Maëlle, it is revealed, is a painted-over copy of Verso's sister, Alicia, hence their very similar appearance and Renoir's propensity to target her throughout the game. The real Verso Desandre, it turns out, was killed in a house fire that not only claimed his life, but left Alicia burned and disfigured, hence her mask throughout the game. As these threads spin out in front of us, we come to understand the truth of the situation happening in the canvas. As the only canvas that Verso ever painted, Aileen has been escaping into it to keep his memory alive after his untimely death. However, using her painter powers for so long has begun to harm her very significantly, and Renoir worries that if he doesn't pull her out of the canvas and destroy it, he will not only have lost his son, but will also lose his wife. Unable to cope with the grief of losing the last living parts of her son, Aileen has become the Paintress and is locked in conflict with her husband inside the canvas, attempting desperately to keep the last parts of Verso's soul alive within it. At the end of the game, the player is given a choice: side with Verso or side with Maëlle. Siding with Verso finally ends his torturous existence, one he has lived for over a century, knowing that he is a lie, a figment of Aileen's imagination painted in a desperate attempt to keep her dead son's memory alive. However, erasing the canvas would also mean eliminating the entire world of Expedition 33, kicking Maëlle out to resume her life as the disfigured, mute Alicia, but hopefully saving both her mother, herself, and the entire Dysandra family from this incredibly dark fate. Siding with Mael, conversely, requires that we kill Verso, probably for the 100th time, and as he lay dying, he begs us to end his existence, this never-ending torture of knowing that he is an imitation, a simulated man in a fake world made to cope with the grief of losing the real man. Mael restores the world, but at what cost? To remain in the canvas forever? To die here? To let her family suffer with the loss of not only their son, but of their youngest daughter? This story raises extremely philosophical questions with absolute grace. Is the life within Verso's canvas less meaningful because it is not real? Is it even really not real? What does it mean to be alive? What is existence? What is life? How does grief change what actions are justifiable? Would you destroy an entire world for the sake of your family, even if you think that world is fake? Would you destroy your family for the desire to live a more comfortable life? These are deeply existential and philosophical questions that most games would fumble completely when trying to explore, but this game handles all of them with absolute precision and delicacy. Renoir's justification for his actions are understandable even if he is villainous. His family is being torn apart by the grief of losing their son, and for as long as this canvas is around, his wife will never let go of Verso and accept that he is gone.
You treat me as if I'm still 5.
I treat you as if the shadow from the worst day of our lives is going to suffocate you and take you from us too!
If he doesn't erase this canvas that now not only his wife is enamored with, but his youngest daughter, he will lose all of them, 3/5 of his family dead over the grief of losing their son. However, Aileen and Alicia's motivations are equally understandable. The canvas is the last living part of their son and their brother, the only surviving piece of Verso that they have, and they want to defend it at all costs so that they can visit him again. Alicia, in this world, as Mael, has a voice and a future and is not burned and is surrounded by people who love her and lives in this unbroken world. It's heavily implied that the Dysandras are at the center of some kind of underground war with other magic users throughout this story. So is Alicia going to go back to that? A world where she's broken and disfigured and forced to fight? It's difficult to put into words how this game tackles these subjects. This is the type of story that requires a second playthrough to understand. All of the twists and turns, when you have the context of the Dysandra family and the canvas, makes so much more sense. Seeing moments like Gustave's death and Renoir's confrontations with the party after understanding his motivations make this game so much less black and white and create massive swaths of gray. Seriously, the writers of this game are so beyond talented that I can't imagine anything they touch in the future not becoming an instant classic, much like this game has. The world of Expedition 33 is equal parts mysterious, fascinating, beautiful, and hostile, populated with the painted creations of the Dysandra family. The monstrous Nevrons are the main enemy source of the game. It's revealed, if you pay attention, that the Nevrons were actually all created by the Dysandra's middle child, Clair. Her and Verso would play inside of the canvas, but it would seem that Clair experimented with her painted powers here, creating some truly horrifying creatures. Nevrons come in a massive variety of shapes and sizes and capabilities. This creates a huge pool of interesting and engaging enemies with varied abilities, weaknesses, and attack patterns to learn. Designs range from a humanoid lance-wielding warrior to a monstrous Lovecraftian eldritch hand monster. The Nevrons are a very interesting and unique pool of enemies. The character cast of Expedition 33 is absolutely top-notch. It goes without saying, but the vocal performance of the cast are all incredible. Each one feels so authentic and real that it creates unbelievable ease to slip into this world. Gustave is an intrepid young engineer from Lumiere who is instrumental in creating the main power of Expedition 33, the Lumina Converter. This device allows Pictos to be enhanced and learned passively by the members of Expedition 33, granting them power far beyond what any previous expedition could muster. Gustave is a strong-willed but level-headed man who took in the orphan Maëlle and is extremely protective of those around him, even to the point of his eventual death, sacrificing himself to allow the rest of his team to escape. Gustave has moments of weakness when facing defeat or doubt, but he is, at his core, a fearless protector and steadfast guardian to his team for his entire time with the expedition. Lune is the daughter of two researchers who left for their own expedition previously. From a young age, Lune was told the importance of remaining objective and being steadfast in her reliance on research to advance the cause of the expedition. While this does make Lune a very valuable intelligence asset, it also makes her very cold and unfeeling at times. She's terrified of failure and will push on against impossible odds just because of her drive to not let those who come after down. She's very socially awkward and asks totally inappropriate questions, but Lune is also the curious member of the team, and it's through her that we learn a lot about the world. Ciel, conversely, is a gentle and optimistic soul despite her natural aptitude for combat. Ciel is a widow whose husband tragically died in a boating accident 6 years before his gommage. Losing someone early in a world where you're already expected to die young gives her backstory this very deep and gut-wrenching tragic note, and it gives her warm and well-meaning personality additional layers, like she can somehow keep up the facade of being happy after experiencing so much loss. Ciel is like the mother of the group, always trying to temper the very intense Lune and idealistic Gustave, while trying to teach Maëlle the difficulties and realities of the world around them. Monoko and Esquier are the 1-2 combo punch of both comfort and humor. Esquier serves not only as the group's travel method, but also their emotional support. His knowledge and experience are valuable, despite hiding them behind these strange riddles and stories. Meanwhile, Monoko serves as sort of a shaman-like figure, guiding and shepherding the expeditioners through the continent that he has lived in for so long. These two characters are pivotal at providing some laughs and knowledge along our journey. And finally, we can talk about Verso and Maëlle. I saved these two for last because they are inextricably linked. Verso, as we know him, is a mysterious and quiet man whose seeming immortality has given him a very good grasp on how the continent and its challenges work. Longtime friends with Esquier and Monoko, Verso guides our original 3 expeditioners into unknown parts in pursuit of their goal to slay the Paintress. When it's revealed that Verso is connected to both the Paintress and Renoir as a family, as well as the white-haired Alicia, his story slowly unravels and leads to basically every major reveal along the way. The real Verso was always more interested in music despite his natural talent for painting. It's revealed that by painting, painters leave behind small parts of their souls in their work, and the various instances of this broken, fading boy that we've found throughout our journey are actually the remnants of Verso left behind in his canvas world. At the very end, when we make our choice, it's essentially a choice to tell the remnant of Verso to stop painting and let this world die, or to keep painting against his will and keep it alive. Maëlle, as we know her, is an orphan whose parents gommaged early on in her life. After being taken in by Gustave and his sister, Maëlle strived for more from the world, resolving to leave with Expedition 33 at only 16 years old. An ambitious loner, Maëlle is looking to make a difference, but doesn't see a future for herself in Lumiere. Thus, she makes a run for the continent with the expedition to escape the dead end that she sees looming for her there. Alicia, then Maëlle's real-world counterpart, much like her brother, was never really interested in painting. She instead found her love in reading and writing, but after being tricked by the writers in an unknown situation, a fire erupted at the Desandra home, killing Verso, who sacrificed himself to save Alicia. She was left disfigured and mute in this fire, and at the pleading of her older sister, Clea, entered the canvas to try and force Renoir and Aileen out of the canvas to help in the real-world conflict between the writers and the artists. Each of these characters has their own motivations and backstories and nuances. Gustave hopes for a brighter future through innovation and bravery, while Lune strives to learn as much as she can about the world to expose its secrets. Ciel, at her core, is a caregiver who will do anything to protect those precious to her, while Minoko and Eskie are expressions of the mysterious world of the continent who guide and Sherpa us through our expedition with the goal of providing support along the way. Mael and Verso are the emotional core of the story of Expedition 33, reflections of the conflict that surrounds the family at the heart of the tragedy that plays out. Mael, through Alicia, represents the hopefulness and the comfort in finding a place that you feel alive, in the memories and the remnants of a lost loved one, while Verso represents the grief and pain in accepting things as they are and letting go of those who are no longer with us. Neither of them are right or wrong. They're both unhealthy representations of navigating grief in their own way. If Mael is a daughter lying in bed watching a video of her recently deceased mother, Verso is the video itself, a captivating but comforting thing that stunts our ability to move on. The story of Expedition 33 is a profound experience. It teaches us about the impossible task of navigating grief. It teaches us the danger of holding on to something so tightly that you lose control of it, but simultaneously shows us just how hard it is to let go of something for real. To process grief, to move on, some part of you has to kill the remainders of what you've lost in your heart. The expedition is the knife of this mission, killing the world that holds the paintress captive in her grief over Verso, and Alicia captive in her grief over the life that she had before her injuries. Meanwhile, Renoir is the Reaper, looking to eliminate every trace of the past that he can for the sake of forcing his family to move on, desperate to try and save their lives by erasing the only place that they feel they can find comfort. If you haven't played Expedition 33, you are truly missing out on one of the most profound, impactful, interesting, and well-designed games ever made. Period. Not of this year, not of this generation, but of all time. This game has easily become an instant classic and will be celebrated for years and years to come, going down in history as one of the most impactful stories ever told. The fact that this experience is the first release from a new studio with mostly unknown names in its credits aside from the voice cast is staggering. Each and every one of these team members should now be known as an icon in the industry. The demand for their work will be intense for the rest of their careers, and I look very much forward to what comes next from Sandfall Interactive. Please buy this game, and please play it at least twice. Take your time to simmer in the feelings that this game evokes. Expedition 33 is, in my estimation, one of the best games ever made, undoubtedly the best game released this year, and one that will continue to be appreciated for years and years to come.